Questions orales. Oral questions. The Honourable Member for Leeds Granville, Thousand Islands, Rideau Lane.
This NDP Liberal government, taxes are up, costs are up, crime's up, and time's up for this Prime Minister and his de facto Finance Minister, Carbon Tax Carney. Since taking on the role, the friends and business interests of Carbon Tax Carney have benefited with billions of tax dollars, $2 billion for his buddy at Telesat, and Brookfield getting a seat at the table to get their hands on $10 billion Canadian tax dollars. Suddenly, Carbon Tax Carney is raising funds for these Liberals in exchange for all of those billions. So will they cooperate with an investigation from Canada's lobbying commissioner?
The Honourable Minister of Flavors.
Well, Madam Speaker, the Death Valley well driller is poking more dry holes. Outstanding Canadians stepping up to advise the Liberal Party or any party is a very good thing. But what this member wants to cloud is the fact that, Madam Speaker, inflation's down, interest rates are down, wage settlements are up. The economy is up. We've reached a soft landing in this country. They should stop talking the country down. We're going to continue lifting the country up, Madam Speaker.
For Leeds, Grenville, Thousand Islands, Rideau Lakes.
Like all Canadians, I wish that every time we looked for a scandal, it wasn't just surface deep, like the Public Safety Minister found guilty of breaking the law, the Prime Minister broke the law, the Trade Minister broke the law. These guys can't help themselves, and now he wants to tell us that Canadians have never had it so good, and that's why they have Carbon Tax Carney, who's lining the pockets of his friends and himself, all so that he'll raise a little cash for a dying Liberal Party. Canadians have had absolutely enough after 9 years of their corruption and grift, so why won't the Prime Minister subject his new de facto Finance Minister to the conflict of interest regime? Is he worried that he's going to be found guilty of breaking the law too?
Honourable Minister of Flavor.
Madam Speaker, the predictions of impending doom coming from that member in particular and his political party really sound discordant to Canadians. What is happening across this country, Madam Speaker, is that after the pandemic, we've achieved that rare feat, a soft landing, no recession, wage gains, inflation coming down, interest rates coming down in this country. The Finance Minister this very week putting in place measures that will make young people more able to purchase a home. Madam Speaker, these are things that you do when
Honourable Member for Leeds, Grenville, Thousand Islands, Rideau Lakes.
Let's talk about what they've achieved. Record lineups at food banks with 25% of Canadians not knowing where their next meal is coming from, not able to heat their homes. A third of food bank users being children. They are starving and freezing in the dark after 9 years of this NDP Liberal government and their carbon tax on everything that's being boosted by Carbon Tax Carney, who's only doing it, of course, to raise his stock portfolio, which we saw with Brookfield stocks hitting 6 months high in exchange for policies from this government and for him fundraising for them. Canadians are broke. These Liberals broke them. Let's have a carbon tax election.
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Finance.
Well, Madam Speaker, Canadians know where this government stands. We've offered immediate and direct support to families, especially when they needed it most. We've delivered household savings and significantly strengthened our social safety net. And we've promoted fairer practices, greater competition across our industries. Notice, Madam Speaker, real solutions and zero slogans from this side. Well, I guess that's just the Liberal government for you.
The Honourable Member for Bellechasse, Les Etchemins, Lévis. 9 years ago, this government promised us the world. Instead, we inherited a Canada that is failing seniors, families, and young people. This government has squandered the money Canadians entrusted to it. This government has created massive inflation. Rent has doubled, and homelessness now affects everyone, including young students and grandmas who can no longer make ends meet. Can this Prime Minister, the government, do the only honourable thing left and call an election? Honourable Minister. Madam Speaker, what Canadians truly fear is the hidden agenda of the Conservative Party. What would that member cut? She would cut food banks. She would cut support for housing. And we know full well that that party would cut tens of thousands of public service positions in Canada. I think it's time for this member and this party to make public their secret hidden plan, which would be bad for Canada. The Honourable Member for Bellechasse, Les Etchemins, Lévis. Well, The fact is that Canada has fallen behind our trade partner and neighbour, the United States, in terms of economic growth and productivity, Madam Speaker, but that's not all. The OECD predicts that Canada's economic growth will be the worst of all OECD member countries over the next 3 decades. Canadians want to get control back over their own lives. The only way to do that is for an election to be called to get a Conservative government. Does the Prime Minister have the courage to dissolve the House? The Honourable Minister. Madam Speaker, when there is an election, that member will have to stop making false claims. She will have to publish the Conservative Party's secret hidden plan for cuts, for austerity, for removing support for our seniors, for housing, for municipalities, for infrastructure, and I could go on and on about what they would cut. Madam Speaker, our economy is strong, interest rates are down, the inflation is down, and Madam Speaker, we avoided a recession. We have a lot to accomplish, but we're working on it. The Honourable Member for Saint-Jean. The House is calling for a 10% increase in old age security for all seniors aged 65 to 74. But this is not just the will of the House of Commons. In fact, yesterday, CTV published a poll. Madam Speaker, do you know what percentage of Canadians agree with us? No fewer than 79%. 79% of those polls understand that depriving 65 to 74-year-olds of a pension increase to which older seniors are entitled means creating 2 classes of seniors. Will the Liberals finally say yes to the request not only of the House of Commons, but also of 79% of Canadians? The Honourable Minister for Seniors. Madam Speaker, I recently visited my colleague's beautiful riding. When I was there, I checked. There are 8,700 constituents in the members' riding who are eligible for the Canadian Dental Care Program now, and that is thanks to the federal Canadian Dental Care Program that she voted against, Madam Speaker. The Honourable Member for Saint-Jean. 79% of Canadians agree with the Bloc Québécois that old age security should be improved for seniors aged 65 to 74. Everyone understands that it is unfair to create 2 classes of seniors. So the Liberals will also have to face up to this obvious fact. Otherwise, they will have to pay the political price. Do the Liberals understand that if they say no to 79% of Canadians, 79% of Canadians might want to say no to them?
Secrétaire parlementaire.
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary. Thank you, Madam Speaker. It is also important to inform that 79% of Canadians that our government, since 2015, has implemented a host of good programs and measures for seniors. We brought the retirement age down from 67 to 65. We increased supports for most vulnerable seniors, including women, persons with disabilities, those with needs. We also enhanced the guaranteed income supplement. And you know who voted against all of that, Madam Speaker? The Bloc Québécois.
Lebanese Canadians have told me they're terrified for their loved ones. They are horrified by the Israeli bombs destroying their family homes. Canadian citizens are trapped. Leaving Lebanon is getting harder. Nowhere is safe. We have been demanding sanctions on Netanyahu, an arms embargo, safe evacuation routes, and for this government to step up and push for a ceasefire. People in the region want peace and security. Why isn't this government doing everything in its power to end the war?
Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Foreign Affairs.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And I think everybody in this House has raised concerns about civilians and people in Lebanon, as we have about civilians in Israel, in Gaza, and the West Bank. We will continue to advocate for peace. The violence, the destruction in Lebanon has to end. Canada has joined with its allies and has called for an immediate 21-day ceasefire. That is the only way that we can get diplomacy to work. Wars kill people. Diplomacy will work. We have to give it a chance. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
For Windsor West.
Madam Speaker, rents are skyrocketing and families can't find an affordable place to live. Liberals and Conservatives have stood by and done nothing while corporate landlords buy up previously affordable apartments to jack jack up rent and increase profits for their shareholders. Now we find out that these landlords may be using AI software to coordinate rent increases and price people out of their own homes. The same software under investigation for illegal price fixing in the United States. Why won't the Liberals act to stop greedy corporate landlords from ripping off Canadians and using AI as a strategy to evict people from their homes?
That's right. The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
The member is an experienced member of this House, Madam Speaker. Surely he knows that rent is a provincial area of jurisdiction, but we have not turned our way from our responsibility to help renters at this time. We've added to supply. We've waived GST on the construction costs of apartments for middle and low-income Canadians. The Conservatives would reimpose that, Madam Speaker. We need to add supply in the context of high interest rates. That measure is doing that. We've put forward a Renters' Bill of Rights as well. That is the first time a federal government has acted in that direction. We're going to continue to support renters, Madam Speaker.
The Honourable Member for South Shore St. Margaret's.
Breaking news. The RCMP Commissioner confirmed that the Prime Minister's hand-picked directors to the Green Slush Fund are under criminal investigation. So what we have now is the Liberals not only defying an order of this House to produce the documents and turn them over to the RCMP, Liberals are now obstructing justice by refusing to cooperate with the RCMP investigation. 9 Green Slush Fund appointees have been implicated in funneling $400 million to their own companies. Are Liberals obstructing justice so their cronies can avoid jail?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Government House Leader.
Yes, thank you, Madam Speaker. And I am disappointed in the Conservative Party's approach, and I'm not alone. If you take a look in terms of what it is that the Auditor General of Canada is saying and the RCMP is saying in regards to the Conservative tactic, and people should really note this, they are extremely uncomfortable. You have caused a great deal of discomfort to those independent offices because of your behavior here on the floor of the House of Commons.
The Honourable Member to speak through the chair. I hope I haven't caused anything to anyone. The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I would suggest to you that the Conservative Party needs to be more sensitive and listen to what the RCMP...
The Honourable Member for South Shore St. Margaret's.
This House is listening to the RCMP when the RCMP Commissioner said yesterday that he's investigating the corruption at the Green Slush Fund. You know, they use as an excuse the Charter. The Charter does not exist to protect Liberals and prevent and create obstruction of justice opportunities. As Liberals cling to dear life to the secret documents, they obstruct justice. Hundreds of millions of dollars have already been funneled to Liberal cronies. What's the true number? Is it billions? Is it $2 billion? Will the Liberal who is obstructing justice and knows the true amount of the
Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Speaker, instead of the Conservative Party playing games at a great expense to Canadians, solely focused on their party fortunes and anything else, as opposed to trying to do filibusters on the floor of the House of Commons, why don't they listen? Listen to what the RCMP, listen to what the Auditor General is saying, Madam Speaker. And what they are saying is this Conservative tactic causes great concern, and it's justified as the Conservatives are trying to blur the whole issue of judicial independence. Shame on them.
The Honourable Member for Calgary Heritage.
Of rights and freedoms, not the Charter of crime and corruption, as the Deputy House Leader seems to contend. 9 years of NDP Liberals. Taxes are up, costs are up, crime is up, and time is up. Guess what? Conflict of interest is up too. At the Liberal Green Slush Fund, the Auditor General reported 82% of transactions, nearly $400 million poured into the pockets of Liberal insiders. The House demanded the government hand these documents to the RCMP. The Prime Minister refuses. How many more millions of dollars, taxpayer dollars?
Parliamentary Secretary.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. You know, I would note that the member made reference to the Charter of Rights. You know, yesterday I heard Conservative member say that parliamentarians should have the right to put people in jail, Madam Speaker. They have no credibility when it comes to the issue of the Charter of Rights and protecting judicial independence. They are literally laughable yesterday in terms of their performance on this issue. They should be ashamed of the way in which they throw to the side the independent offices of our RCMP and they walk on the...
Honourable member for Calgary Heritage.
Madam Speaker, the Charter protects people from government, not politicians from prison. I think that the Deputy House Leader would be well advised to think about how every parliamentarian is not above the law. While Canadians struggle with higher taxes, grocery prices and housing costs, Parliament halts. Yet Liberals still hide the truth, refusing to release documents. 2 million people turn to food banks. Liberal insiders get rich. The RCMP investigates. When will Liberals comply with the RCMP, stop obstructing justice, and give Canadians their money back?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Madam Speaker, I realize the member across the way is relatively new. Let me give him a bit of a refresher. Let me talk about Conservative corruption, the anti-terrorism scandal, the Phoenix scandal, the G8 spending scandal. Remember the gazebo? The ETS scandal, $400 million. The F-35 scandal. What about the Senate scandal? Not to mention the election scandals. Madam Speaker, there's a plural on that one because one of their members actually went to jail, Madam Speaker. We don't need to be taking lessons from the Conservative Party of Canada on scandals. They led the way.
The honourable member for Mégantic-L'Érable.
Après 9 ans.
After 9 years of this Bloc-backed Liberal government, they're just not worth the cost of corruption. The Liberals have lost control, Madam Speaker. Corruption reigns free in that party. The RCMP is doing another investigation into the Green Slush Fund. $400 million from the Green Slush Fund went to Liberals. The Auditor General alone found 186 conflicts of interest. Why does the Prime Minister refuse to tell the full truth? Why is he hiding documents from the RCMP investigation? Who's he trying to protect?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Well, Madam Speaker, I'm not too sure if the member across the way heard what it is that I said in terms of the Conservative corruption that is out there. This is serious stuff. Where were they when we had this type of corruption taking place? I talked about the anti-terrorism scandal, and the list goes on. I want to focus on the election scandals because the only parliamentarian that I'm aware of that was literally taken away in leg irons was the parliamentary secretary to the Prime Minister, Stephen Harper, Dean Del Mastro, Madam Speaker. Where was the Conservative Party when the Conservative Party demonstrated so much corruption?
The honourable member for Mégantic-L'Érable. You see, Madam Speaker, after 9 years, this government has a culture of secrecy and corruption, all created in the party by the Prime Minister. And it's so deeply rooted, this culture of secrecy, that the House can no longer do its job. This government is hiding documents from Canadians. This government, once again, is flouting a House of Commons order. This government is disrespecting the will of a majority of parliamentarians who want to get to the bottom of the Green Slush Fund. 2 million Canadians are going to food banks. When will Canadians be reimbursed for this government's corruption and incompetence?
Pick up on the word when the member makes reference to disrespect. When I say disrespect is when the official opposition and the leader of the far-right Conservative Party completely ignores the advice that's being provided by the independence of our RCMP as an institution and the Auditor General. Madam Speaker, I think it's irresponsible. It's ridiculous that the leader of the Conservative Party ignores that information. At the same time, you know, when we talk about corruption, talk to me about the individual that walked away in leg irons because of Conservative...
The honourable member for Pierre Boucher, Les Patriotes Verchères. The House voted to put an end to having 2 classes of seniors by increasing by 10% OAS payments for those aged 65 to 74. 79% of Canadians who were polled support this. The Minister for Seniors will have to explain this. He is penalizing 12,000 seniors in his riding of Gatineau, 30,000 in the greater Gatineau area. Can he explain why his government would prefer to call an election rather than give these seniors a single penny more? The Honourable Minister for Seniors. I thank the member for correcting the math brought up yesterday about the number of 65 to 74-year-olds in the riding of Gatineau. He didn't apologize, but thank you for correcting it. Now, there is some more math for this House. 10,000, Madam Speaker. 10,000 constituents in his very riding who today are eligible for the federal Canadian Dental Care Plan that we implemented despite his vote against this plan, which helps so many people. The Honourable Member for Pierre Boucher, Les Patriotes Verchères. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Soon, they will have an opportunity to apologize to many seniors. What do the Liberals do for seniors? The Minister for Seniors is depriving 12,000 people of 10% increase in their OAS, and the Quebec Lieutenant is depriving 15,000 people, and the Prime Minister who represents Papineau is depriving 8,000 seniors of an increase. We, the Bloc Québécois, will do everything for those seniors. With Liberal MPs and ministers like that, wouldn't we be better off with an election? The Honourable Minister for Seniors. Madam Speaker, not only have we supported seniors by targeting supports to the most vulnerable seniors, we've also invested in housing. We're also very proud to have increased OAS. We also increased the exemption for taxable income so that we could help seniors who wanted to remain in the labour market. Do you know who voted against all of that, all of those measures, Madam Speaker? The member across the way and his whole party, the Bloc Québécois.
After 9 years of these NDP Liberals, taxes are up, costs are up, corruption is up, and time is up. Now it's confirmed that the RCMP is doing an investigation into this Liberal Green slush fund. $330 million of taxpayer funds was paid out in 186 cases of conflicts of interest. It is despicable that Liberal insiders lined their own pockets. Those who broke the law must be brought to justice. So when will this scandal-ridden government hand over all the documents to the RCMP and recover every last dollar of embezzled funds?
Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Madam Speaker, I would pose the question, when will the Conservative Party actually start respecting the independence of the RCMP? When will they take and start respecting the independence of the Auditor General? When will they actually start to work for Canadians inside the House of Commons by stop talking so that we could actually get on to government legislation and do what the resolution or the motion that they've brought forward, and that was to see the bill or the motion actually go to the Standing Committee, Madam Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Montmagny, Lille, Kamouraska, Rivière-du-Loup. Madam Speaker, 9 years of this Liberal government means 9 years of scandals. The RCMP has opened another investigation. Corruption has become synonymous with this Liberal government. Canadians are still waiting for answers about the Liberal Green Slush Fund, which paid $390 million in 180 cases of conflict of interest. This is Canadians' money, Madam Speaker. Canadians can't afford to house themselves or eat if all of their money ends up in the hands of Liberal insiders. Madam Speaker, when will this corrupt Liberal government allow Canadians to keep their money? The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
I have had the opportunity to answer this question, and I think in fairness, what I would like to suggest to the members opposite, that they really do listen to what the RCMP and the Auditor General have to say on the issue. If they want to do a comparison, as I've tried to highlight, the many different scandals of the Stephen Harper era in which the leader of the Conservative Party today was a part of that cabinet, Madam Speaker, I think that they need to start reflecting internally on their behavior, because not once did they ever make the type of inquiry or demand, rather than...
The Honourable Member for Red Deer, Lacombe.
After 9 years of this NDP Liberal government, taxes are up, costs are up, crime is up, time is up, and incompetence is up. The Minister of the Environment ignored the science, and as a result, Jasper burned. The proof? His own executives were caught discussing cancelling prescribed burns for political optic reasons. Yet prescribed burns are an essential tool for preventing wildfires. Will this minister accept responsibility for his failure and apologize to the 2,000 residents of Jasper who have lost their homes and their businesses?
The Honourable Minister Minister of Environment.
What the member opposite just said is simply not true. And if I wasn't in this House, I would probably be using another word. There's been 10, 15 prescribed burns in the last 10 years, Madam Speaker, and the email he's referring to are Parks Canada employee discussing whether or not to use mechanical removals or prescribed burns. What he's saying is absolutely false, and he should be ashamed, Madam Speaker.
Madam Speaker, the Minister of Environment claims to be proud of his preparations for the catastrophic Jasper wildfire, yet 1/3 of Jasper was destroyed. $1 billion in damages, 2,000 people homeless. It can hardly be described as a success. Everyone knew Jasper was a tinderbox. My former colleague Jim McGlinskey even tried to warn the government in this House as far back as 2016, yet not enough was done to protect the town of Jasper. How many more parks need to burn down before this minister is replaced by somebody who knows how fire works?
The Honourable Minister for the Environment and Climate Change.
Talk about what we're doing on this side and what they did when they were in power. The last year that this party was in power, $2 million to fight forest fires with Parks Canada. What we've done in the last few years, $85 million to help fight forest fires, to give means to our forest at Parks Canada to work with the Alberta government, to work with the city of Jasper. $2 million on their side, $85 million on our side, Madam Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Nunavut.
Indigenous elders endured genocidal policies resulting in Indigenous women and girls being missing and murdered. Thanks to the Liberals, Wik-Wemkong First Nations elders are on the verge of exile. Long-term care facilities are important for passing on intergenerational love and knowledge to keep Indigenous peoples alive. Liberals are refusing an act of reconciliation. When will this government deliver the funding needed for the Wik-Wemkong Elders' Home?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Crown Indigenous Relations.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I'd like to thank the member opposite for her question. And it's true that elders are an important part of the Indigenous communities. We know that it's important to continue to support Indigenous women, especially on Sisters in Spirit Day. And I'd also like to just, while I have the ability, to congratulate the Nova Scotia Native Women's Association on their brand new Indigenous Women's Resilience Centre. They opened last month. It's the first ever in provinces across Canada. So congratulations to Nova Scotia Native Women's Association on an amazing achievement.
The Honourable Member for Port Moody Coquitlam.
The minister said they would hold back the Canada Disability Benefit until July 2025. What a disgrace. Over 1 million people with disabilities live in poverty today. They need support to pay for rent, groceries, and medication. And the Conservatives are no better. They'll cut dental care, health care, essential services persons with disabilities are entitled to. This government needs to act now, not next year. Will they stop the delay and deliver the Canada Disability Benefit immediately?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Madam Speaker, this opposition party, the Conservative Party, will do nothing at all for persons with disabilities. We are the party that has stood by persons with disabilities, $6.1 billion to help people with disabilities be lifted, and this was in our budget, the biggest line item. We are proud of this, the Canada Disability Benefit. We are standing with the disability community, working together to uplift people. We are the government that is doing this. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Honourable Member for Markham Stouffville.
Madam Speaker, Canadians deserve reliable and safe travel options. That means efficient airports that can adapt to high demand. It also includes targeted investments in regional airports, such as at the Billy Bishop Toronto City Airport, located on the beautiful Toronto Islands. Could the Minister of Transport update this House about a recent announcement that will benefit Canadian travellers and improve connectivity?
The Honourable President of the Treasury Board and Minister of Transport.
Madam Speaker, Canadians are asking for better service at airports. Last week, I was pleased to make an announcement at Billy Bishop Toronto City Airport with having pre-clearance at that airport. Canadians can expect smoother travel between Canada and the United States. More travel options, more economic growth, more tourism, more trade, more security. Madam Speaker, that's what it's all about. Unlike the opposition, we are here for Canadians. We're here for productivity.
The Honourable Member for St. Albert, Edmonton.
Madam Speaker, the minister from Edmonton misled committee when he testified that he had no communications with his shady business partner at or around the time of an alleged $500,000 fraud implicating a Randy. But when phone records demonstrated that that wasn't true, he changed his story and admitted to phoning and texting the shady business partner at that very time. If the minister isn't for Randy implicated in the alleged fraud, why did he mislead committee?
Hear, hear.
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Yes, Madam Speaker, it's all about character assassination from the Conservatives. Not once, but twice, the minister in question has actually been cleared by the Ethics Commissioner. Having said that, Madam Speaker, instead of attacking personalities day in and day out, maybe the Conservative Party should start listening to what Canadians are wanting to deal with. Why isn't the Conservative Party being a little bit more forthright on what their hidden agenda is really about? Canadians want to see a dental program, a pharmacare program, a school food program, a child care program, and a healthy health program.
Member for St. Albert, Edmonton.
Madam Speaker, let's get this straight. Text messages implicating Randy. The minister's shady business partner can't identify another Randy. We know that the minister contacted his shady business partner at the time of the alleged fraud, and text messages place the Randy in Vancouver at the same time as the minister. How much evidence is it going to take for the Prime Minister to fire this corrupt minister?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Yes, Madam Speaker, I've already answered that question. And at the end of the day, Madam Speaker, what is it going to take for the Conservative Party and the leader of that far-right Conservative Party to understand that there is an obligation to be responsible here in Ottawa on the floor of the House of Commons, Madam Speaker? That means allowing debates to occur on the important issues that Canadians are facing today. Instead of focusing their attention on the Conservative Party, Madam Speaker, they should be focusing their attention on Canadians.
The member for Sturgeon River, Parkland.
Well, Madam Speaker, the member dodged the question the first two times, so let's give him a third time. The Minister of Employment and his business partner, Stephen Anderson, have refused to cooperate with an investigation into their fraud-ridden company. For months, this minister claimed that he had no communication, that he wasn't the one referenced in the text, and that he had nothing to do with his former business partner. Finally, after relentless pressure, the minister admitted he did text his business partner, and he even called him to discuss their business, something he's prohibited from doing by law. Why did the minister, who claimed he had nothing to hide for months, hide this damning evidence?
The Parliamentary Secretary.
Yes. Thank you, Madam Speaker. You know, I've indicated very clearly the Ethics Commissioner, which is an independent office of the House of Commons, has not once but twice cleared the minister. Having said that, Madam Speaker, my challenge to the Conservative Party across the way is to understand that they actually have a responsibility to Canadians that goes beyond serving the Conservative Party of Canada. Madam Speaker, I would suggest that they are doing a great disservice to Canadians in every region of the country by the behavior that they take day in and day out on the floor of the House of Commons.
Member for Sturgeon River, Parkland.
Well, Madam Speaker, I would say that this Liberal government has a responsibility to tell Canadians the truth. This minister, only after turning over his phone to the Ethics Commissioner, only after months of relentless pressure, finally admitted that he did indeed talk to his business partner, something he's not allowed to do under law. He admits that they discussed business, and this was after his business partner lied to a parliamentary committee by ridiculously claiming that the 9 references to the minister was just an autocorrect. If the minister can't be trusted to disclose what he called just an innocent conversation, how can he be trusted to be truthful?
The Parliamentary Secretary.
Yes, Madam Speaker, not once, but twice the Ethics Commissioner has cleared the minister. That is the truth. The member makes reference to the truth. Seriously, Madam Speaker, this comes from a Conservative that ultimately a Conservative party that spreads so much misinformation and false facts, fake news, you name it, through social media, Madam Speaker. When are they going to start to be honest with Canadians and tell them what their hidden agenda is all about? I'll tell you why, because they know that
The honourable member for Joliette. The Senate is thumbing its nose at farmers. This is the proof. In 82, a bill with one article supported by all the members of this House was stuck in the Senate for more than a year. More than a year to study more than one article on supply management. How come the Senate is taking so much time to study C-76 yesterday? 3 days, not one, but three. 2 Liberal-appointed senators are blocking this bill. They are mocking farmers. Can we ask them to stop this? The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Of course, we're a party that has always supported supply management. We also support this bill in question, and we expect the other place to pass this legislation. But we haven't talked about to the other party across the aisle, the official opposition. They've been rather quiet on this issue, and I hope they will also make calls to their Conservative colleagues there. The honourable member for Joliette. What we're asking is to speak to the senators, because their role should be to approve bills that are voted on by elected officials. This is our democracy that needs to be put first. There are 2 unknown senators that no one voted for that are blocking all of this legislation. And I would like to remind you that if this bill is not adopted by October 29th, we'll be not supporting the Liberals. And we have to protect our farmers, or are we just protecting our own behinds here? The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. As I said already, we're a part of this always supported supply management. We're going to continue to do so, and we're expecting the other place to pass this bill. And I know that my Bloc colleagues are doing their work at the Senate, as are we. We're making calls, but once again, I haven't heard the official opposition make any calls on their side of the House on this bill.
After 9 years, this Prime Minister is not worth the cost or the corruption. We now know the Prime Minister's friend and media buddy, Tom Clark, was instrumental when it came to purchasing his new $9 million luxury condo on Billionaires Row in New York, a condo which includes Italian marble, a $5,000 coffee machine, and a golf simulator. This as Canadians continue to struggle with an unprecedented cost of living crisis. Will the Liberal government admit there is no justification for Canadian taxpayers having to foot the bill for this lavish condo?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
The truth is, and the fact is simple, that the new residence that has been purchased will cut costs, will save money. On this side of the House, we'll always stand up for Canada and the best interests of Canadians. We'll engage with international leaders. We will continue to do the work that we need to do internationally, diplomatically, while saving taxpayers' money. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Yorkton Melville.
After 9 years of these NDP Liberals, taxes are up, costs are up, crime is up, and time is up. The Liberals' $60 million Arrive scam exposed contracting fraud on taxpayers, called bait and switch. High-priced consultants overbill, underdeliver, and sometimes don't even do the work. High-priced consultants line their pockets while taxpayers are paying the bills. Canada's contracting watchdog is launching a review. How much contracting fraud will taxpayers be on the hook for, and will the Liberals get Canadians their money back?
Great question. The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Madam Speaker, we have said time and time again that we expect our procurement process to follow all of the rules and regulations. Any misconduct will come with severe consequences. The CBSA has already implemented a number of measures to strengthen the transparency around procurement processes. They are working with the various commissioners to find additional ways to ensure that Canadians can have trust in our procurement process with CBSA, and we are supportive of the CBSA's work in this in this area.
The Honourable Member for Northumberland, Peterborough South.
Madam Speaker, according to media reports, this Liberal government has covered up the contamination of a Transport Canada dock operated in northern Albertan Indigenous communities. The big dock, as it's referred to, is known as a community hub. It's where couples go for a walk, where people fish, where kids go to play and swim. Did this government really cover up the contamination of this dock? Yes or no?
The Honourable Minister of Transport.
Mr. Speaker, Madam Speaker, I want to say that safety is my top priority as Minister of Transport, and I hear and understand the concerns from the First Nations communities. It is absolutely crucial for remote and northern and Indigenous communities to have access to safe and reliable connectivity that they need. I will work with them to ensure that the operations at the facility are being carried out safely. The work is ahead of us, and we will make sure that we're on top of it. Thank you.
Good answer.
Honourable Member for Ottawa-Vanier.
Madam Speaker, wildfires are becoming more and more unpredictable. As keepers of the land, Indigenous communities have long held deep local knowledge to mitigate their impacts. Earlier this week, the Leader of the Opposition tokenized Indigenous cultural practices when it comes to protecting the environment. To the Minister of Indigenous Services, why is it important that First Nations take the lead when protecting communities, lands, and waters?
Here, here.
The Honourable Minister for Indigenous Services.
Madam Speaker, thank you so much to the member for Ottawa-Vanier for the question. And as she knows, there's a direct link between climate change and wildfires, extreme wildfires that we've been seeing across the country worsening for First Nation members. And so we've changed the way that the Government of Canada supports First Nations so that they have the supports financially and from a self-determination place to be able to protect their communities. And good news, last wildfire season, Madam Speaker, half as many people evacuated from First Nations communities. We're going to continue to work with the real experts in this country, Madam Speaker, First Nations and their partner.
The Honourable Member for Brantford Brant.
Madam Speaker, another day, another shooter on our streets. This time a 21-year-old dirtbag, or as described by a veteran detective, a muppet, with a record of 21 failures to comply with court orders, and not surprisingly, out on bail, sent a young cop to the emergency ward with a bullet in his gut. This NDP Liberal government's hug-a-thug mentality is putting cops and the public in emergency rooms and in morgues. When will this government prioritize safety rather than empathy for cop shooters?
Hear, hear.
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Justice.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. That last statement is just outrageous. I live in the City of Toronto where this police officer worked. Myself, my family, and my neighbors rely on them every single day, and we're grateful for the work they do. This member is a former Crown prosecutor, as he likes to remind us time and time again. It's provincial responsibility to deal with the enforcement of bail laws. The Crown prosecutors are appointed by the province of Ontario. The justices of the peace who administer the laws are appointed and paid for by the province of Ontario. He's asking the wrong people the question.
The Honourable Member for Brantford Brant.
Almost everyone they arrest is out on bail. No one stays in jail where they belong. And they laugh. This is the president of the Toronto Police Association. Wake up. Every day, Canadians are waking up to more news of shootings and murders. The minister bragged that his bail reform bill would make our streets safer, but the truth is more criminals are out on bail and Canadians are more frightened than ever. This bill is a complete failure. How many more lost lives is it going to take for the government to finally embrace jail, not bail, for serious violence?
Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Justice.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Once again, he's pointing in the wrong direction. There are justices of the peace every day in the province of Ontario who are releasing people on bail because of the inhumane conditions.
Can I interrupt the Honourable Member? I had a question. We allow the Parliamentary Secretary to answer. Order! From the top.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Every single day in the province of Ontario, there are justices of the peace who are appointed by the provincial government. who are letting people out on bail because the conditions inside provincially built, provincially funded, and provincially operated prisons are inhumane and not okay for people, even prisoners, to be in. There is judicial decisions by justices of the peace who have considered this fact regularly, and they said until those conditions change, that's going to be a major consideration when they're listening to bail applications.
The honourable member for Kildonan St. Paul.
The fact is, Madam Speaker, after 9 years of these Liberals, of these NDP Liberals, violent crime in Canada is up 50%. That is their responsibility, Madam Speaker, and it's really no wonder. Police report there are 790 repeat violent offenders just walking the streets in Mississauga and Brampton. Police say almost everyone they arrest is out on bail, yet Liberals have made it very clear, especially yesterday in question period, that they support repeat violent offenders getting bail, no matter what, no matter who gets hurt, Madam Speaker. What is it going to take for the Liberals to realize that their catch and release policies are costing innocent Canadians their lives?
Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
They just don't understand, Madam Speaker. They don't want to understand, Madam Speaker. The laws are in place. They can't be enforced properly because the province is underfunding the system. 1 hour ago, none other than Ben Mulroney was on his podcast, and he said one of the biggest problems is the lack of resources provided by the provincial government in the province of Ontario, and that's why people are getting out on bail. Full stop. They need to pay attention, look in the right direction. The laws here are in place. They stop sensationalizing and be serious.
The honourable member for Dartmouth Cole Harbour.
Madam Speaker, the Halifax Regional Municipality is home to a thriving maritime defence industry. Fleet Week, the Halifax International Security Forum, and of course our Atlantic Navy Fleet. In Dartmouth Cole Harbour alone, we're home to a thriving defence innovation ecosystem, including the Centre for Ocean Ventures and Entrepreneurship, and hundreds of startups and established companies working and innovating in this sector. Can the Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of National Defence share with this House how our government's investments in defence and industry will benefit the Halifax Regional Municipality, Canada, and the world?
Secretary to the Minister of National Defence.
Thank you very much. As a proud founding member of NATO, we know Canada must do our fair share on the world stage. And this week, I was very pleased to open one of 3 international headquarters for the NATO Defense Innovation Accelerator for the North Atlantic, or DIANA, in Halifax, Madam Speaker. DIANA will facilitate cooperation between military operators and NATO's best and brightest startups, researchers, and tech companies. While the Conservatives are against funding for NATO DIANA, we, on this side of the House, are investing in Atlantic Canadian ingenuity and promoting NATO's defence excellence here at home.
The honourable member for Esquimalt, Senex-Sooke.
Canada made a commitment to eliminate new cases of HIV by 2030, and there's still time to stop the spread of HIV, which is now hitting Indigenous women and other marginalized Canadians hardest. Community-based HIV organizations have laid out the necessary path in 2 proposals costing less than $175 million. Will this government provide the necessary funding to community-based HIV/AIDS organizations to ensure all Canadians are able to access HIV testing and then get connected to care? Or, despite its promises, is this government okay to continue to see the number of new HIV cases in Canada rise instead of fall?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Thank you very much, Speaker, and I want to thank the member opposite for his steadfast advocacy for patients suffering from HIV/AIDS. I believe that the member opposite would agree that we are all committed to making sure that we provide care for people who suffer from HIV/AIDS, and that's why our government has been investing over almost $90 million to help tackle sexually transmitted and blood-borne infections across Canada, which includes almost over $30 million under the HIV and Hepatitis C Community Action Fund and the Harm Reduction Fund. Of course, there's more work to be done, and we'll continue to work with all members of this House to ensure that all Canadians suffering from HIV...
The Honourable Member for Richmond Arthabaska. Madam Speaker, Quebecers who use community clinics, hospital dental departments, or long-term care homes can't access the federal dental care program because of disputes between the Quebec and Canadian governments. Some of these patients are children, are vulnerable, or less affluent, or have a disability. Dentists are sorry that they can't register their patients. All of these people are trapped and penalized because our governments can't get their act together. Can the Prime Minister tell us what stage discussions are at so that this unacceptable situation can be resolved? The Honourable Minister. Madam Speaker, I'd like to thank the member for his question, and I share his indignation with respect to Quebec government that wants to prevent dental treatment to the most vulnerable members of our society, people who are in long-term care homes, children in the hospital, Saint-Justine, who don't have access to this care, even though they pay their taxes. Normally, the Bloc would be against this, and I would ask them to add their voices to ours. It's a lack of judgment from the Quebec government.
Ainsi prend fin la période de questions orales. Volume des
Earpiece volume. I wish to inform the House that the volume of earpieces will now be reset.
We'll have to readjust the volume. Okay, daily routine of business, tabling of documents. Tabling of documents. Tabling of documents, no. Introduction of government bills. Statements by ministers. Reports from interparliamentary delegations. Présentation de rapports de comité. Dépôt de projets de loi émanant de députés. Première lecture des projets de loi d'intérêt public émanant du Sénat. Motions. Présentation de pétitions. Presenting petitions. The Honourable Member for St. Albert, Edmonton.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I rise to